All right. Everyone, my name is Dan Whitfield. I'm the independent candidate running for United States Senate here in Arkansas. Let's give everybody a couple minutes to get filed on, get this shared, and we will get ready to do our weekly trivia night. All right. Hey, Jeannie, thanks for joining us. Let's go ahead and get some Jeopardy music queued up. I do apologize for starting my weekly trivia a little bit late this evening. My interview ran a little bit longer than expected, but I am all ready. We're gonna have a really fun night. Oh man! So our topic tonight is why Tom Cotton is bad for America. So this will be a lot of fun. What's up, Ren? Oh, thank you. All right. So a little bit about what's going on right now. Hey, Allison, thanks for joining us. Every Wednesday evening at about 7 o'clock, we do a weekly trivia night to kind of just take a break and relax from everything that's going on in the world. Our last trivia night was Harry Potter was our theme, and it was so much fun. I really enjoyed the Harry Potter theme. Now, tonight's theme is why Tom Cotton is bad for America. So the way this works is I have 10 questions per round, and there are going to be 3 rounds. Now, I kind of broke it into 3 different kind of categories for the rounds. Round 1 is going to be about Tom Cotton's finances. Round 2 is going to be about reasons why Tom Cotton is bad for America. And round 3 is going to have a few extra questions this week. And it's going to be about legislation he's voted on and what that legislation would have meant to us as American citizens. All right, so without any further ado, let me turn this light on, see if that helps a little bit. Am I too bright? No, that's probably good. All right, so we have round 1, question number 1 for our bad things Tom Cotton has done trivia night. All right, question number 1. How much money has Tom Cotton already spent for the 2020 U.S. Senate race? How much money has he already spent? And just feel free to answer the questions in the chat there. So how much money has Tom Cotton already spent on the 2020? 3.5 million. You know what? That's close enough, and I will take it. If I can find this button over here. $3.5 million. How has he already spent $3.5 million on this campaign when, we haven't even seen him? That's so crazy. So crazy. $3.5 million Tom Cotton has already spent on this campaign. I'm trying to pull up my figures right now. I'm a little bit behind because I was trying to finish my interview. So our campaign, we have spent $14,688. He spent $3.5 million. We have spent $14,700, and we have reached just as many people as he has. How crazy is that? Where is he spending all this money? Where is it going? I have no idea. But if you want to know where your money's going and how I'm spending your donations, you can go to replacetomcotton.com, go to donations spent, and you can see where I've spent every dollar that y'all have donated. All right, so moving on. Question number 2. How much money has Tom Cotton taken from the energy industry? This includes fossil fuel and coal energy. So how much money has Tom Cotton taken from the energy industry in his career? Now, after taking money from the energy industry, he's actually voted against regulations for environmental protections. He's voted to deregulate our fossil fuel industry. He's voted against regulation that would prevent pipelines from automatic approval. So he's taken how much money in exchange for voting on legislation this way? Let's see here. Enough to make him a sleazeball, right? $15 million. It's not quite that much. It's a lot, but not quite that much. Let's see here. So, for these first few questions, 10 million, pretty close. Madeline, y'all are getting closer. I was just going to give you the answer. A little bit more, Madeline, a little bit more. Thank you, Janie. Yes, taking $1 from the fossil fuel industry and then voting on legislation that makes them money is $1 too much. So, if you go to opensecrets.org, you can actually look at, just type in Tom Cotton's name. You can see, the entire breakdown of where his money has come from. So I went through and I spent some time yesterday after work getting all of these different figures. 3 million, that is a lot closer. So it is kind of hard to get these figures. So what I'll do is I'll ask the question, how much money? I'll give you all a little bit of time, like 15, 20 seconds to guess. And then I'll just tell you because you probably won't guess it. So let's see. The question was, how much money has Tom Cotton taken from the energy industry? $2,111,000. $2.11 million. That's how much he's taken from the fossil fuel industry. All right. So, moving on. How much money has Tom Cotton taken from the healthcare industry? Tom Cotton has voted to repeal the Affordable Care Act. He hasn't offered a replacement for it. Oh, there we go. Trying to adjust all this. And he's made it so that we are paying tons of money for our healthcare. I think the average American is paying something like between 11 to 15% of their income for healthcare. 3 million, not quite 3 million. You're almost there. 2.8, you know what? That was pretty darn close, Karen. So Tom Cotton has taken $2.3 million from the healthcare industry. $2.3 million. All right, moving on. We'll go to some higher figures here, where a majority of his money is coming from. All right. How much money has Tom Cotton taken from the finance, insurance, and real estate industry? Insurance, finance, real estate. Oh, yeah. How much money has Tom Cotton taken from the real estate? Oh yeah, we can get to the NRA. Oh, man. I know, what did he do with all that money? That's a good question. 23 million, not quite that high. You know what, Kay? That was really good guess, Kay. So, Kay, very, very close. We are looking at $11.694 million. $11.6 million from the real estate, finance, and insurance industries. Now, where that really becomes a problem is here in Arkansas, we are the only state in America that doesn't have tenant protection laws. So if you don't pay your rent here in Arkansas, you can go to prison. You can go to jail for not paying your rent if you lose your job or if you don't have money to pay your rent, which is very important and relevant today because with what's going on with COVID-19. Only state in the country where you can go to jail for not paying your rent. On top of that, another problem that we're facing here in Arkansas is that we don't have renter's protection. So if, say, your furnace breaks, if your heater is not working in December and it's like, 10 degrees outside, your landlord does not legally have to fix the furnace. And if you decide not to pay rent because your furnace is broken and your landlord doesn't have to fix it, then he can send you to jail for it. Welcome to Arkansas. These are things that we need to fix to protect our Kansans. Oh, I guess I can take off this headset now. Aha. All right. Moving on. Next question. How much money has Tom Cotton taken from the communications industry? How much money has Tom Cotton taken from our internet service providers and such? And a reason this one here is important is because Tom Cotton actually voted to give our internet service providers... I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. Tom Cotton voted to give our ISPs the legal rights to our private internet data. Our private internet data belongs to our internet service provider thanks to legislators like Tom Cotton, who took money from the communications industry in exchange for that vote. Not 15 million, little bit high. All right. Again, I'm just going to give answers after a little bit because these are really tough questions to research, and you'd have to research like all of these 5 different branches and then add them all together to get to your calculation. But anyways, let's see here. We are looking at about $1 million. So Tom Cotton took about $1,088,000 from the telecommunications industry and then voted to give them the rights to our private internet data. Which is why if you go on your cell phone and you search umbrella, then you go on your computer on Facebook and you're going to start seeing ads for umbrellas. That's because our corrupt legislators. Next question, moving on. We are in round 1 right now. Question number 6. How much money has Tom Cotton taken from the United States Defense Department? How much money has Tom Cotton taken from the Defense Department? Is it not loud enough? No? Okay. So this is important. Tom Cotton has taken money from the Defense Department, and in exchange, Arkansas's #1 export right now is smart missiles. I think he even bragged about it. He's like, if a smart missile kills a terrorist in the Middle East, we can say it was from Arkansas. Well, at the same time, when we have 90% of the people being killed overseas as civilians with our smart missiles, that's not something we should be proud of. We shouldn't be proud of killing a bunch of civilians in poor foreign nations just so we can go in and have ExxonMobil build oil refineries and steal their oil. All right. So it's not as much as you would think, because this is actually the Defense Department and not from like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and these different contractors. $309,000 he's taken from the Defense Department. $309K. If you go to the opensecrets.org, you can see how much money he's taken from like Lockheed Martin, and it is a lot more. All right. So, and it is really upsetting, you know. I don't want to be known for the state that creates smart missiles killed to use civilians. That's just not something I'm proud of personally. All right. Question number 7. How much money has Tom Cotton taken from billionaires? How much money has Tom Cotton taken from billionaires? And can I get anyone who follows me or who's up to date? How much money did Tom Cotton take from the Koch brothers? Just the Koch brothers in 2014 alone. In 2014, how much money did Tom Cotton take from the Koch brothers? And this is important because after taking money from these billionaires, he voted on the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which saved them $3 trillion. $3 trillion. Let's see. I know, right? That is a lot of money, Jules. Let's see here. 400 million. Morgan, 400 million is how much the Koch brothers put into the entire election cycle, not just to Tom Cotton. I'm getting closer. It's a little bit less than 14. Oh, y'all should know this. Come on. So, Tom Cotton in 2014 took $8,400,000 from the Koch brothers. Why would the Koch brothers give some lawyer farmer guy from Arkansas $8.5 million to run for the United States Senate? Well, they did it because they got him to vote on the legislation that saved them $25 billion last August, when it was, gosh, I need to look this up. I keep forgetting whether it was Charles or David Koch's widow inherited $61 billion untaxed because they temporarily repealed the estate tax. $8.4 million. That was just for one election. How much has Tom Cotton taken from billionaires? More than $10 million at this point. All right, moving on. And again, round one, it's just full financial figures. It's not going to be as fun. Round two will be a little bit more fun. And round three will be very important stuff on how he's voted on legislation. So we're almost done with round one. Bear through the numbers. There are important numbers. We should know this as Arkansans and as American taxpayers. All right, moving on. Question number 8, round one. How much money did Tom Cotton take from pro-Israeli PACs in 2014? In 2014, Tom Cotton took money from a pro-Israeli PAC. How much money did he take? And why did he take it? A lot of people worry about foreign intervention in American elections, but what they don't talk about is the campaign finance reform. They worry about China getting involved with our elections, or with Russia hacking and getting involved with our elections. But what they forget to talk about is when foreign countries like Israel give our candidates huge sums of money to get them elected and then ask for money in return. Since Tom Cotton, I'm not seeing the answer in here. So Tom Cotton took $1 million, 2.5 million shekels. Tom Cotton took $1 million from the pro-Israeli PAC, and after taking $1 million from them, has since voted to give them more than $20 billion in military aid. Not humanitarian aid, not in food, not in medicine, $20 billion in military aid. We need to be talking about the foreign intervention in our elections by how much money foreign nations are giving our candidates and bribing them for legislation that favors them later. All right, moving on. Next question, question number 9. We're almost done with round one, only 2 more questions. This isn't really a finance one, but it's a really good question. I like it. What percentage of Tom Cotton's contributions have come from out of state? What percentage of Tom Cotton's contributions have come from out of Arkansas? Outside of Arkansas. Let's see some guesses. I want to see who can get close. What percent of Tom Cotton's contributions have come from out of our state? How is somebody who's taken so much money from outside of our state supposed to represent Arkansans in their best interests? It's more than 70%, less than 90. 75 is pretty darn close, and I'm going to call you the winner right there, Rami. Rami, I don't want to mispronounce your name. Rame. All right. 76.7%. 76.7% of Tom Cotton's money has been donated to him from out-of-state corporations and billionaires. 76.7%. So does that mean he only owes his constituents, I don't know, like 23.3% of his time? Maybe that's why he hasn't been back here. Never mind. I don't want to ruin that question, upcoming one. So 70%, 76% of his money has come from out-of-state donations. And the last question for round one on why is Tom Cotton bad for America? Who does Tom Cotton really work for? Who does Tom Cotton really work for? That is the question. See your best guess. I would love to see someone say the people. Come on, let's see a people guess. Let's see here. Paying politicians for votes should be illegal. Absolutely 100% agree. We need to outlaw congressional lobbying. The devil. I like it. Works for the devil. NRA. Yep, he definitely works for the NRA as well. Billionaires. That's one of them. All right, so we have billionaires. Who else? The family. I like the family. Definitely. Satan. It's good stuff. Trump. Yeah, he works for Trump as well. Corporations and the rich. All right, so I see my three answers. We had billionaires, corporations, and the rich. That's who Tom Cotton works for. He doesn't work for us. He doesn't work for the working class or for Arkansans. I mean, I guess we can consider the Waltons Arkansans. He works for them. But he's not representing us. We are the 49th richest state in America. The only state that makes less than us, that's more poor than Arkansas, is Mississippi. That's it. We need representatives that are going to listen to us, that are going to vote on legislation that helps us, and that represents being one of the poorest states. All right, moving on. Neutrino rats. I love it. His interests in 2024. He does have high side interests to run for president, but we're going to do something about that. All right, so that was round one. Yay, how fun. Lots of numbers. Yeah, numbers aren't really fun, but they are very important because we have to know who our representatives are working for, and that's the only way we can find out. All right, let's see. My hair, sorry for my quarantine hair. I usually keep it a lot shorter. All right, moving on. Round two. Why is Tom Cotton bad for America? Question number 11. Who does Tom Cotton blame for the wage drop in low-wage jobs? Who is responsible for the drop of wages in low-wage jobs? It's so hard. I can't even read this one with a straight face. This one's so terrible. Who does Tom Cotton blame for the drop in working class wages? Who is to blame in Tom Cotton's mind for the drop in wages for the working class? Immigrants! Wow, Susan! I can't believe you got it right! I was not expecting anyone to actually know how terrible of a human being he is. Immigrants! Why does Tom Cotton think that wages are dropping for the working class? Because immigrants! Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me, bro? That's so crazy. Oh my gosh. No words. I mean, it's terrible. All right, moving on. Question number 12, round two. Unions. I wish a lot of Republicans and conservatives would think that it's unions because unions actually help raise wages for working class. Moving on. Let's see. Question number 12. Which act was allegedly violated by the 47 traitors when they sent the letter to the Iranian government? Which act was violated by the treasonous letter to the Iranian government? So, Tom Cotton wrote a letter. He got 46 other senators to sign this letter, and he sent it to the Iranian government. In this letter, he stated how the United States Congress will not support the President of the United States in any way. Logan, there we go. That's close enough. It was the Logan Act, correct. So the Logan Act. I know, nobody really talks about it. I tried doing research into it on why these people aren't in prison for treason. Apparently, the outcome of it, why none of those 47 senators went to prison for treason, was because the political firestorm it would have created. They just couldn't imagine sending 47 senators to prison all at the same time. So I guess if you get enough people to break the law at the same time, there's nothing the government will do about it. All right, so that was the Logan Act. All right, got another good one here. Okay, this is a longer question, so bear with me a little bit. In 2006, Tom Cotton wrote a report that was published on the New York Times. The Bush administration deemed the report contained classified information and that it was a matter of national security. Tom Cotton then put Americans' lives at risk when he contacted a conservative media outlet to publish the report afterwards, which they did publish the report. What was the name of the conservative media outlet that published an article that put Americans' lives in danger? The article that Tom Cotton wrote. What was the name of this conservative outlet? Let's see. Very awful. Not Tom Cotton's first run-in or last with the New York Times. Not Fox. Not Breitbart. Not Washington Post. Quick search. It's going to be the 2006 report that Tom Cotton wrote that the New York Times was unable to publish due to the Bush administration deeming the article a matter of national security. This is honestly the article that people think gave him his fame and notoriety on why he was able to run for the Congress after. Hey, Carrie, thanks for joining us. Not the Wall Street Journal. Sinclair, not Sinclair. All right, so it was actually a conservative media outlet called Powerline. Powerline published this article. All right, just important things we should know. So, next question, moving on, number 14. Tom Cotton was dubbed the face of the Hell No Caucus, which refused to entertain any inkling of which two policies. So, Tom Cotton, he was deemed the face of the Hell No Caucus. What two policies did these caucus want to work on? The Hell No Caucus. We've already talked about one of these policies just a little bit. So what was the point of the Hell No Caucus? Why was Tom Cotton the face of it? Graduate school's fun though. We gotta know about our representatives. If we don't know about our representatives, then we're not doing our jobs. Policies of he's a racist. Yes, actually, halfway there. Not healthcare. So the two policies, not the Affordable Care Act. We'll get there though. The two policies that the Hell No Caucus refused to talk about was number 1, gun legislation reform, and number 2, immigration. They wanted immigration reform because our policy was too tough. We have a really terrible immigration policy right now where not only is it really scary for undocumented people who want to become American residents or citizens, it's very expensive. And they were trying to make it so that we could, have a clear path towards citizenship. So hell no. Anti-immigrant, pro-gun. Let's see here. Question number 15. What does Tom Cotton think a woman's greatest fear is? What does Tom Cotton think a woman's greatest fear is? What is a woman's greatest fear, Mr. Cotton? Senator Cotton? I have lots of ladies in here. What do you think Tom Cotton thinks your biggest fear is? And this was in his thesis paper he wrote when he was a Harvard grad. Becoming a Harvard grad. Infertility. No, not infertility, but that is super funny. Not education. Losing her husband, Joyce. All right, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Apparently, as far as Tom Cotton is concerned, a woman's greatest fear is her husband leaving her. So that's what women don't want, their husband to leave them, apparently. All right, moving on. That one was fun. I guess along the same lines from the same paper, question number 16. What is a woman's greatest hope? What does a woman aspire to do? What is a woman's deepest desire? I love your face, Molly. That's beautiful. Being kissed by Tom Cotton. What is a woman's biggest aspiration or deepest desire? What does a woman want most in life? He's not sexist. Maybe. I think, oh man, you guys are both pretty close. I see some really close answers on there. So there you go. Madeline comes out with the 100% correct answer. Tom Cotton believes a woman's deepest aspiration, her greatest hope, is to just be a good wife and mother. Be a good mother and wife. I don't know. I know some women who really aspire to be attorneys, doctors, who want to, be legislators, who want to aspire to end wars. Yeah, there's lots of other things, but yeah, that's what he says. A woman's deepest aspiration is to be a good mom and wife. All right. Question number 17, round 2. Why is Tom Cotton bad for America? Why does Tom Cotton want Roe v. Wade overturned? Why does Tom Cotton support the overturning of Roe v. Wade? Why does Tom Cotton think that Roe v. Wade should be overturned? You know what I think should be overturned? Citizens United. Citizens United should be overturned, not Roe v. Wade. But why does he think Roe v. Wade should be overturned? Because he gets money from evangelicals. Yes, he actually does. Money, Christian nationalism, power. Because he's sexist. Yeah, we just learned that in the last couple questions. Votes from the religious right. He believes abortion should be illegal. He does believe that. But why? What is the deeper meaning? What is ticking behind his little thing back here that says we should overturn Roe v. Wade because of this? He believes women should have zero. I know, right? Oh, man. Religious rights vote, right? I think you're probably really close, Mark. That's probably the most accurate perception of it, is he probably just wants the votes. But I quote, decisions that the American people ought to make through their elected representatives. Why does Tom Cotton want to overturn Roe v. Wade? Because it is a decision that American people ought to make through their elected representatives. A decision that American people ought to make through their elected representatives. A decision that American people should make through their elected representatives. So, my elected representative should decide, not the Supreme Court? I don't know. Craziness. Anyways, I lost you there for a second. All right. Question number 18. Question number 18, round 2. Why is Tom Cotton bad for America? What is the Tom Cotton bill? There is a bill passed the Arkansas state legislators. It is called, or dubbed, the Tom Cotton bill. What is the Tom Cotton bill? What is the Tom Cotton bill? Who needs the judicial branch when we have our elected representatives? What is the Tom Cotton bill? I think it's really funny because it's super pertinent to this election right now, actually. So what is the Tom Cotton bill? All right. We'll give it I know it's totally cool. Feel free to Google any of these questions. It's not about how you come up with the answer. It's about knowing what the answer is. So the Tom Cotton bill passed the state legislation, I believe in 2017 or 2016. What the Tom Cotton bill is, all elected officials are above the law. No, but I'm really super surprised that would not be what the Tom Cotton bill is. So the Tom Cotton bill allows a candidate to run for re-election while running for a different office. So it allows a candidate to run for multiple offices at the same time because he wants to get elected to Senate in 2020 and then run for president in 2024. All right, Tom Cotton bill. Next question. We have 2 questions left for round 2 before we get into legislation. And yeah, that's really important stuff. All right. Question number 19. When was Tom Cotton's last town hall in Arkansas listening to his constituents? When was Tom Cotton's last town hall here in Arkansas? Bonus point. Where was it? I think this is very important because how can you represent constituents when you won't listen to them? When you send your constituents cease and desist letters, when your constituents are outside your office protesting, why are you calling tow companies to come and tow their cars? So it was in Springdale. Kevin, awesome. What month in 2017? Joyce is close. It is 2017 and it was in Springdale. 1902. I love it, Glenn. That's pretty much. February 27th. Jules for the win. February 2017. It has been more than 3 years since Tom Cotton has come here to Arkansas to listen to his constituents' concern. 3 years. Insane. My name is Dan Whitfield. I'm the independent candidate running for United States Senate here in Arkansas, and I have pledged to hold 12 town halls per year. 12. Because how can you represent your constituents if you won't listen to them? On top of that, I'm still going to be doing my weekly live streams so I can listen to your questions, answer your questions live, and update you on legislation that is currently in the Senate that's going to be voted on. All right, moving on. February 2017, 3 years. That is, it's terrible. All right, last question of round 2 before we get into legislation. All right. Tom Cotton called for 2 things to be done against American citizens that were published in the New York Times in his new op-ed. What were the 2 things that he called for the military to do against American citizens? He called for 2 things. What are the 2 things Tom Cotton called for about a week ago? Two things. What did Tom Cotton call for? New York Times. I'm even going to write them in here. Thoughts and prayers. I love it. No quarter. There you go. That's one of them, Kevin. He called for 2 things. No quarter was one. Calling for no quarter, that is a war crime. It's against the Geneva Conventions, and honestly, he should be removed from office right now for even suggesting it. To kill, yes, all no quarter. Take no prisoners, yes, terrible. But he did call for one other thing, one other quote. I'm not seeing it yet. Active military, yes. Oh no, my battery's at 10%. I'm gonna have to grab a charger. Alright, pulling out my microphone. So I lost my mic, but I had to plug in my charger. Alright, see no quarter, all this stuff, but I'm just gonna go for the answer so we can move on. An overwhelming show of force. Tom Cotton called for an overwhelming show of force against American citizens that were merely expressing their First Amendment rights, their constitutional rights. They're showing their pain and their anger and their frustration about what's going on in the world. And what does he do? He calls for an overwhelming show of force and no quarter. He calls for American troops who have taken an oath to protect Americans to turn their weapons on Americans. I don't know why he's still an elected official. Disgusting. All right. Yay! Now we all know why Tom Cotton is a bad human being and why he is not good for America. Round 3. So this round is going to be straight legislation and how he has voted on legislation. they're like, if you go to votesmart.org, you can enter in Tom Cotton and hit votes, and it'll tell you how he has voted for every piece of legislation throughout his entire career. I didn't put all of his legislation on there because it's like 17 pages long that I had went through. But I did put some really important ones that I thought everybody should really know about and be talking about. So, round 3, question number 21. This one really gets me too. I mean, this is the most un-American thing that I can think of. And I honestly, the way that this legislation is voted on, how Republicans they're all for it, it blows my mind because, Republicans are for more freedom and liberty and constitutional rights, but this piece of legislation is directly against that. The name of the piece of legislation is the USA Freedom Reauthorization Act of 2020. USA Freedom Reauthorization Act of 2020. He voted yes. I guess actually I'll ask y'all how you think he voted. That will be our question. So I gave away one answer, but we have more, don't worry. So he voted yes on the USA Freedom Reauthorization Act of 2020, which was an extension of the Patriot Act until December 2023. So he voted to extend the Patriot Act until basically 2024. Wow. And I believe this happened last month while COVID-19 was going on and no one was talking about it. All right. So question number 22. The title of this legislation, what you can do is just put yes or no, whether you think he voted for it yes or he voted against it no. Joint resolution for the direct removal of U.S. armed forces from hostilities against Iran that had not been authorized by Congress. So did he vote yes or no for a joint resolution to remove U.S. armed forces from Iran? Did he vote to pull our troops out of Iran? It's got a couple no's on there. Feel free to chime in, everybody. Got some no's. Release the Kraken. Well, you're all right except you, Mr. Jim. Unfortunately, there was no Kraken involved. He voted against pulling our troops out of Iran. All right, next one. Question number 23. The name of this piece of legislation was called the Borrower Defense Institutional Accountability Act. The Borrower Defense Institutional Accountability. So the Borrower Defense Institutional Accountability, what it is it would allow American citizens to declare their student loans as debt when declaring bankruptcy. So that if you declared bankruptcy, you could declare your student loans as debt. No. Yes, we have troops in Iran, Glenn. The Congress has not authorized our hostile troops in Iran, but we do have troops there. There was a resolution brought forward to remove those troops that were there without Congress's approval, and they voted against it. So, no, correct. Lots of no's. The Borrower Defense Institutional Accountability Act was actually approved by the Senate. He voted against it, but the Senate majority approved it so that when a student declares bankruptcy, they could declare student loans as debt. But President Donald John Trump vetoed it. He vetoed it. Thank you, President Trump. I'm sure every student in America appreciates that. Moving on. Question number 24. The Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act. Did he vote yes or no for the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act? What this act did was it would ban abortions after a fetus is 20 weeks old. Did he vote to ban abortion after a fetus is 20 weeks old? Yes or no? I see one yes. I see two yeses. Trump was a bad student. He's a bad man. I know. It wasn't much easier to do all this research and write it all down for you. So a lot of yeses, and actually you're all wrong. Kind of wrong. Trick question. He actually co-sponsored that bill. Yeah, he's a co-sponsor of that bill, banning abortions after 20 weeks. All right. Question number 25. I hope you all enjoyed that one. The name of the legislation was Impeaching Donald John Trump for High Crimes and Misdemeanors. Did Tom Cotton vote yes to impeach or no to impeach Donald Trump for high crimes and misdemeanors? They were able to bring proof showing that Donald Trump used his position as the President of the United States of America to pressure a foreign government from by holding back relief funds during a time of their national emergency in exchange for political favors. Lots of no's, and you're all right. He voted no to impeach Donald Trump. He decided that withholding financial support for an ally because they wouldn't give up political secrets was not an abuse of power. All right, next question. The title of this legislation was the Joint Resolution for the Direct Removal of United States Armed Forces from Hostilities in Yemen that have not been authorized by Congress. Did he vote yes or no to remove the troops from Yemen that had not been authorized by Congress? Yes or no? Oh, I'm forgetting about my Jeopardy music. Yes. So far, he voted against pulling the troops that were not authorized by Congress out of Iran. He voted against pulling the troops not authorized by Congress that were in Yemen. We got to pull our troops home. We need troops in some places, but we have to end American imperialism. We can't afford to do it anymore. We have 836 military bases in foreign nations. 836 military bases in foreign nations. We have 836 military bases in foreign nations. Insane. All right, moving on. Question number 27. The name of the legislation was the Obamacare Repeal Reconciliation Act of 2017. The Obamacare Repeal Reconciliation Act of 2017. By the way, if you go to YouTube, Jeopardy theme song, there's one on here. It's a 10 hours and 24 seconds long of the Jeopardy theme that we're playing. Yes, I see one yes on here. The name of the legislation was the Obamacare Repeal Reconciliation Act of 2017. 2 yeses, 3 yeses, 4 yeses, more. All right. So yes, he did vote to repeal the Affordable Care Act, or what, I mean, they even call it Obamacare. It's not Obamacare, it's called the Affordable Care Act. But yeah, they hate Obama because he was so much better. He voted to repeal Obamacare, I believe it's a total of either 2 or 3 times now. When he campaigned in 2014 not to repeal Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act without a replacement. All right. Breaking campaign promises. Awesome job, bro. Hope you don't get reelected. Let's see here. Moving on. Question number 28. You can't make this stuff up. It's crazy. The name of the legislation was Prohibits the Transfer of Firearms to Suspected Terrorists. prohibits the sale of firearms to suspected terrorists. Did he vote for or against it? Prohibits the transfer of firearms to suspected terrorists. I see some no's. Wow, y'all are super smart. I can't believe it. So let's see here. What this legislation would have done is it would have required the Attorney General to establish a procedure to ensure that if an individual who has been under investigation for terrorism within the previous 5 years attempts to purchase a firearm, the Attorney General is promptly notified of the attempt. He voted no. Prohibits the transfer of firearms to suspected terrorists. Yeah, I don't think I like the sound of that. Crazy, like... Alright, moving on. Question number 29. The name of the legislation was Fix Gun Checks Act of 2016. Fix Gun Checks Act of 2016. Did he vote for or against it? What the Fix Gun Checks Act of 2016 would have done is it would have required universal background checks. So it would require background checks for private-to-private sales. It is currently known as H.R. 8, and I do support H.R. 8. I believe we should have background checks on all firearm sales, even private to private. Nope. Against nope. Well, all of you are right. He voted against it. No. They do not like background checks. Well, I have I have a concealed carry license with the enhanced stamp on it. I did everything the right way. I can legally carry a firearm. They did a background check on me to make sure I'm not a felon, I'm not a domestic abuser, and I can own a firearm legally. I think that if you have a valid CCL, then you shouldn't have to do a background check because you've already done one. If you commit a crime and you become ineligible to legally own a firearm, they invalidate your CCL and pull it back. So as long as you have a valid CCL, then you've already passed your background check. If you don't have a valid CCL, you should have to do a background check on every single firearm purchase. If I go on to armslist.com and I want to sell my gun, then I should be legally responsible to do a background check on the person who buys it from me. Just making sure they're not a felon, that they are legally able to buy a gun. Awesome, Joyce. My wife wants to get hers, but with COVID-19 and everything going on right now, it'll probably be at least a few more months until we are going to put her in the environment where there's a classroom type of thing. All right, moving on. Question number 30. These ones kill me. Like, I don't even understand how you... Okay. The name of the legislation was Denying Firearms and Explosives to Dangerous Terrorist Act of 2015. Denying Firearms and Explosives to Terrorists of 2015. Did he vote for or against it? I do like the psychological check idea aspect of it. I had actually talked with some people about this whole way we could boost our economy and create basically a whole new branch of our economy by requiring firearm owners to undergo psychological evaluations annually. Sell arms. Hey, bear arms. I love the bear arms gif where it's a bear with arms. It's funny stuff. No way. Against. Probably for... Let's see. If it said give arms to terrorists, he'd probably be for that. But unfortunately, no. He voted against the act called the Denying Firearms and Explosives to Dangerous Terrorists. All right, moving on. I did have a few extra questions on here. I have 5 more, and then we're all done. What time is it? 8:04 p.m. So we are just about at our time. I'll go through these last 5 fairly quick. I know I had started about 10 minutes late because of my interview. So question number 31. The name of this legislation is Prohibits Implementation of Certain Climate Assessments. Prohibits implementation of certain climate assessments. I just don't understand. How are there still climate deniers? I mean, 99% of scientists around the entire world are in agreement about climate change. And we still have climate deniers. But you know what the key factor that binds these people together are? These leaders who don't believe in climate change. What is the factor that... Money. We have so many leaders and representatives that are taking money from the fossil fuel industry and then going out and spouting all this diarrhea out of their mouths about how climate change isn't real. It is insane. It is insane. Climate change is a very important problem, and we're seeing that here in Arkansas right now more than ever. All right, so yes, he actually voted for the act that prohibited the implementation of certain climate assessments. This would have, forced the federal government to start investigating the effects of climate change. All right, down to 4 more. Question number 32. The name of this legislation was Prohibits Pending Pipeline Permit Application from Receiving Automatic Approval. I don't even understand this one. How is this even a thing? The name of it was Prohibits Pending Pipeline Permit Application from Receiving Automatic Approval. Right now, if an energy company submits a permit for a pipeline, it is automatically approved. Automatically approved. No, there we go. We got no and no, no. Exactly. He took money from the fossil fuel industry and then voted against legislation that would have just ended the automatic approval of pipelines. How can they even get away with that stuff? I can just be an energy company. I mean, we saw this in Standing Rock. Don't never forget Standing Rock. Standing Rock was a very important moment in our history. We lived through that history. We saw the federal government go in illegally and build a pipeline through Native American territory, which was ancient burial land where they had buried their ancestors for thousands of years. And that power company said, you know what? We want our pipeline to go right through there because they didn't want to build it closer to a city that was like 50 miles north of them. So they come in and they say, we're building this pipeline here. And the Army Corps of Engineers said, no, you can't do that. That's illegal. If you go build this pipeline there, we're going to fine you. You know what the energy company did? They said, all right, fine us. And they went and they built it anyway. As soon as Donald Trump became president in 2016, he signed an executive order authorizing that Keystone pipeline through Native American land because they had been building it illegally. All they did was pay some fines. Since then, it's already leaked hundreds of thousands of gallons of oil, by the way. All right, moving on. Sorry. Standing Rock. If you don't know what Standing Rock is, search it because it's super important and you owe it to all Native Americans. All right, moving on. Sorry, I get a little preachy there. Question number 33. Only 3 questions left. The name of this legislation was Prohibits U.S. Combat Operation in Iraq. Prohibits the U.S. combat operation in Iraq. This was a vote to end the Iraq War. Did Tom Cotton vote to end the war in Iraq, or did he vote against ending the war in Iraq? We know he already voted against pulling troops out of Iran. We know he voted against pulling troops out of Yemen. Did he vote to end the Iraq War? He is a veteran. He was an officer. I believe he was a sergeant, if I remember correctly, and got a Bronze Star for distinguished service. Don't even know what it was for. I know people say it was a desk job, but No. Against, of course not. Hell no. Negative. You would think that a military veteran, having seen firsthand what's going on in the Middle East, would be against war, would be for pulling our troops home, for stopping the invasion of poor nations just to steal their natural resources. But no, it's not for that at all. It takes money from the fossil fuel industry, so ExxonMobil can go in there and steal all their oil fields. It takes money from Raytheon, from Boeing, from the military industrial complex to keep wars going. He has a financial interest in keeping wars going. All right, 2 questions left. Question number 34. The name of the legislation was prohibits the U.S. from providing weapons in Syria. Prohibits the U.S. from providing weapons to Syria. Takes money from the military-industrial complex. And then he votes to stop. He votes against the stopping of selling weapons to Syria. He's an arms dealer. That's all Tom Cotton is. He's an arms dealer. He gets paid to sell weapons, promote war. That's why he's trying to send us to war with China right now. It's crazy. That's not what we need. We should be focusing here at home when we have, 25% of our Kansan children are going to bed with a hungry stomach every night. The average income in Arkansas is $40,000 a year, and we still have counties that are only making $23,000 to $25,000 household income, but he's focused on starting foreign wars to make some money from his stocks and from his campaign donations. Crazy. All right. One last question. One more. The last one, uno mas. Question number 35, round 3. Why is Tom Cotton bad for America? The name of the legislation was Repeals Indefinite Military Detention Provisions. Repeals Indefinite Military Detention Provisions. Did he vote for or against this act? What this act did was, right now, a suspected terrorist, which anyone could be considered a suspected terrorist. Look at what Donald Trump just did. He labeled Antifa as terrorists. What is Antifa? Antifa, anti-fascist. Someone who doesn't like Nazis and doesn't like fascism is Antifa. We are all Antifa. World War II showed us we are all Antifa. So we are all terrorists. Right now, the military government, just for this video right here, can come into my house and detain me indefinitely. Forever. Just throw you in a cell and lock away the key. And lock you in a cell, throw away the key. It's crazy. Yes, he voted against this provision. This provision would have ended indefinite military detention, and he voted against it. I believe I quote, let's see. Oh man, I have more on here. I'm going to go through these really fast. I forgot I have 2 more questions. Number 36, the name of the legislation was USA Freedom Act. Yes, he voted for this. It was the extension of the original Patriot Act. And that was basically the end to American privacy. The next and last one, now it is, the name of the legislation was prohibits the NSA from collecting records under the Patriot Act. A piece of legislation that would prevented the NSA from going into law-abiding American citizens' private internet data and storing all the records. Right now, the government, they have all of our phone calls, they have all of our text messages, all of our emails, all of our voicemails, they know what porn you watch. They know what your favorite color is, what you're doing on social media. They know the GPS location of your phone. They know all of this stuff. Your phone, it is a microphone, a camera, recording device. We know from Edward Snowden that they are always recording your camera even when it is not on. They have all of this stuff, and they're doing it legally because of legislators like Tom Cotton, who voted to give our government that ultimate authoritarian control over American citizens, law-abiding American citizens' lives. So We went through a whole bunch of stuff today. Oh man. We started round 1. It was all about finances. Round 2 was about reasons he's bad for America, such as his sexism, his racism, his wanting to sick the military against American citizens for expressing their constitutional rights. And then we finished with round 3 talking about legislation that he's voted on and how he's voted. I would suggest go to opensecrets.org. You know what? I'm going to put that right here. All right. Oop, only one E there. Opensecrets.org. What's up? It says your storage is full. Oh, I'll talk about that in just 1 second before we finish up. Let's see, make sure I spelled it right. Open Secrets. I feel like it doesn't look right. .org right here. Opensecrets.org. Type in Tom Cotton's name, and you can see how he has voted on every single piece of legislation for his entire career. Go there. You owe it to yourself. Then go to... Oh, actually, I lie. OpenSecrets.org, that's the finances. You can see where every single dollar he has gotten has come from, who he donates money to. If you don't know, Tom Cotton has given money to Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson. He's given money to the Secretary of State, John Thurston. He's given money to the Arkansas Attorney General, Leslie Rutledge. He's given money to all these people who are trying to prevent us from having ballot access. OpenSecrets.org, a very good source of information. Next one is going to be votesmart.org. If you go to this website here, you can see how he has voted through his entire career on every single piece of legislation. Check that out. And don't just do Tom Cotton. You can put everybody in there. There's all sorts of people. Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, sorry, not Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden. You can put all these people in there. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. I've been in interviews for like the last 3 hours. Enter in your representatives. Check them out. It's a really great website, and you owe it to yourself to know how representatives are representing the people. I did just do an interview. Man, I still don't know how to pronounce her name. Is it Pajikaji? It's a pretty cool name. It's catchy. I like it. But I just did an interview with her. Check it out on YouTube. I did share it on my page. Make sure you check out replacetomcotton.com. That's my website. All of these trivia nights, all of my live streams, I upload them all onto my website so you can see everything there. There's like more than 50 hours worth of stuff on there. If you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Give me a phone call, shoot me a text, a Facebook, Twitter message, an email, anything like that. I try to respond to every single one. I appreciate your guys' support and your guys' reaching out when you guys have suggestions, when you have concerns. I appreciate all that stuff. So never hesitate to reach out. Every Saturday night at 6 p.m. Central, I also do a weekly live stream update and Q&A. So you can come on, ask me questions. I'll read your questions as you're asking, as I'm going through with my updates. I'll answer them. Reach out. I want to be your representative. I want to know how you want me to represent you. So, I appreciate your guys' time, the effort y'all have been putting into helping share our media and how to share our campaign and things like that. So thank you so much. But my name is Dan Whitfield. I am the independent candidate running for United States Senate here in Arkansas. Make sure to check out replacetomcotton.com. Thank you all so much for your time this evening. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.